We're just going to decide to be totally sold out from this point forward to the Lord in an unusual way. And when I say be totally sold out, there's some muddled behavior, different ones where we have not completely sold out to the Lord. And what that means is, like a man that's married, he could, the day, before he's involved, he can entertain conversations. But once he's made that commitment, when I say before he's involved, before he's got that one person, he can talk to many people. But then once he locks in on one person, it's no conversation. It's the same thing with your relationship with God. If you're putting him first, just like you're married, you cannot go back and say, okay, hold on, I'll be right back. You can't do that. So we're going to, today, moving forward, and it'll be a practice. If you slip off the wagon, get right back on, but stay on. God has to be a priority. And if you're struggling with making him a priority, that's going to prevent you from going to the next one. You will not get into any other realms. You will not get into any other realms because you're not going to put him second best and think you're going to go into his first. And you have him second best on your list, but you want him to move you into dimensions. It's not going to, he's got to be first on your list and you will be first on his, but it's got to be a covenant, one-on-one. And so here again, today, decide to make God first in an unusual way. That set time aside. He's not asking you for 24 hours, but he does deserve some time. He deserves some set aside time. Schedule him in and stick to it like it's a job. Some of us are more faithful to our jobs than we are to the things of God. That's what he's talking about. We're more faithful to showing up because we see a physical person showing up to that than we are showing up to God. And you're not going to get to the next level showing up to God, who's the one that advances you. That these jobs and these works and all these other things you're doing, that's great. But when God has called you, do your job with excellence, but put time aside with the Lord. Why can't God get some committed time like that? That's the word I'm looking for. Committed time. You put him like when I get finished, after I eat the popcorn and watch the movie, after I go to the store, after I go this, after, and then you think you're going to get a bounce up, pop up, come to the front, throw down blessing. That's delusional. It is delusional. Who is God to you? That's what you're going to get. So you have to prioritize, be sold out in an unusual way. And wherever just know this. If you make your time with God at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 to 7 in the morning, or whatever time it is, the phone's going to ring at 6:01, and it's going to be some nonsense because the enemy's going to attack whatever you set aside for the Lord. You make your time at 3:30 in the afternoon. 3:35, the phone is going to ring, or somebody's going to knock on the door, or some crisis is going to happen because the enemy does not want the consecrated time. If you fit God in, just like as a husband and wife, and she's all sloppy about her time with him, and he's all sloppy about his time with her, that ain't going to last very long because they didn't prioritize each other. They did not say to the other person, you're the most important person in the world to me. And then the other person said, you are the most important in the world to me. That's commitment. That's covenant. Beginning. It's a whole lot of pieces to it, but that's covenant. You got to make him number one. If you want that, you want to start moving up into these dimensions. So when you're supposed to be at the next dimension and you're still in the other dimension, the dimension where you are, that anointing will dry up because you're supposed to be somewhere else. You got enough to be where you are. When it's time, hold on. When it's time, hold on, let me put this on you. There we go. When it's time to move, the enemy will do everything he can to stop you. And he'll do everything he can to stop you at the holy place. He don't want to stop you at 7-Eleven. There's no point to that. He want to stop you at the holy place, the place you've consecrated, the doorway. You see, okay, here, listen. You have 24 hours in the day in the earth realm. There's no time, and you're not bound by time and in the other dimensions. But in here in the earth realm, and so every day you have decided 6 o'clock, I'm going to spend time with the Lord, or whatever your time is. You have just cut out a window to go into the next dimension in the earth realm. At 6 o'clock, I'm going into another dimension because I'm going to talk to the Lord. In the earth realm, I'm carving out a time to move past this earth realm, this present time, and go up and talk to the Lord, which is in multiple. He's in all the dimensions. But you are going spiritually into another dimension to speak with him. You're going to sit and spend time with the Lord. He's going to talk to you. You're going to talk with him. You just cut out space and time in this dimension to go into the other dimension. And like I told you, mark my words, you be consistent about showing up. If it's 6 o'clock in the morning, that anointing will start to drop just like clockwork. It may take you a few days, but just before 6 o'clock, that space and that place and that time will get ready. Because, see, God is this is real. This is real. If you say, here on this spot, Lord, at 6 o'clock, I'm meeting you every day. It may not be 2 days go by. The angels will set up shop right there. Heavenly shop will set up right there. Oh, she's coming here. He's coming here. We're going to meet him here. And this is God is faithful. You can just do it. This why I had you guys setting up your altars a long time ago. But do it. Spend time and space. Dedicate, consecrate to God, and don't miss it. And see won't he show up. He shows up on this line every day because we show up every day. We carved the time out, and I'm telling you, I could not have nothing fixed. 10 minutes before, boom, message drops like clockwork. Lord, what do you want to talk? What do you want to talk about? And I don't know before the day of it happening. Sometimes I get like 3 or 4 messages in a day, but most of the time it's that day. And then I get on. Then as soon as I start talking, he gives me the rest of it. It's not me. And Jackie, told you that guy said that many times, but it's not me. But it's a time, because you are standing in the earth realm, carving out a space, a spot, a time to go into the presence of God, to transcend the dimensions. And heaven opens up the dimension. You don't open it up. You just consecrate it. Heaven say, okay, that's what she's going to do. They come in agreement. And heaven just faithfully, they open up the windows of heaven, and you are able to talk. You're able to go in, and he's not that God's not right there with you all the time, but it's a downpour. It's a download. And the angelic hosts manage these things that are dedicated to the Lord. They manage that. So the reason I'm telling you that is when you start praying, warfare breaks out in heaven. If you could hear the warfare and what was actually going on, you'd probably be completely preoccupied, if not crazy. If you could hear what actually happens, like, you know how you know it happens? Because the enemy used to ask. He asked for Job. Remember Job? That was a permitted warfare, but Job, they talked about it, and then the enemy was released to go ahead and attack Job. This thing we're getting ready to talk about with Daniel, they said, Daniel, we heard you first time you said it, but warfare broke out because of you praying. Prayer doesn't just mean smooth transitioning. Prayer means you getting ready to take something that was somebody else's, you getting ready to take something that belongs to God that was occupied by somebody who wasn't supposed to be there, the enemy. Whether you cooperated or not, or whether it's you or whether it's somebody else, the enemy wasn't supposed to be there. He's got to get up out of there. Warfare. You called it out. Took back the territory. And that's how we pray. When you're praying for somebody, you're taking back territory. Everybody, he said, I wish that none should perish. So this is the reason I'm telling you this is to read. He said, I wish that none should perish. So anybody that you pray for or pray about, you're pulling them in for the kingdom of God. You're laying hold in the spirit realm, identifying that person, so that now you have set an assignment of angels on that person that they be saved, and life starts changing. Now we're going to get to the next part. I'm trying to explain it. When a person's being influenced by another dimension, by another anything, it seems seamless. SEAMLESS to the person. They'll have some thoughts and think they thought it up. They'll have some feelings and think it came from them. It didn't come from them. It could come from a whole nother realm. and I'm gonna get back and explain that. But when you're praying for somebody or praying for a thing, you could be you could be needing to be in a relationship with somebody in order to carry over the plans of God. What's the enemy's strategy going to be? Pick a fight, break up the relationship, burn the bridge, and then the plans of God cannot proceed because those two will not be in agreement. The enemy, and they'll think they thought it up. They'll be thinking of stuff happened a long time ago. Don't you remember you called me this and called me fat and and you think and women, we get caught up. We get caught up. We got to, silliness has to stop. You have to know when you're on the plans of God. Don't let the enemy just so easily influence an argument or easily influence discussion. Don't let the enemy do that. That's his goal, is to keep mess going because it stops the plans of God. Mess, MESS, is one of his strategies. And he'll influence, he'll whisper it in the back of somebody's mind. I'm going to say your mind, somebody's mind, and they'll think it's their thought, and it's not their thought. It came from the enemy. He dropped it just to see if they would pick it up. Just dropped it. Let's see if she'll pick it up. Let me throw some other mess in there. Let me see if she'll pick it up. Don't get your mind just go to places and pick up no mess. Sometimes people imagine stuff that didn't even happen. Just go all down the street with an argument that never even occurred. Well, if she said that to me, I'm going to say this. If he said that, I'm going to say, see the preoccupation? That's how the enemy gets you distracted. And he introduced the thought from another dimension. You didn't think it up. And it didn't even come from you, but he drops it to get you to be distracted, to get your feelings. People have gotten their feelings hurt about imagining somebody said something to them, and the person never even opened their mouth. Or worse yet, people pick a fight with you about something you said, and you never were even in the room. You guys have all talked to people. So what are you talking about? I wasn't even there. I didn't. Yeah, you remember you said so. I didn't say nothing. Just drama. This enemy, it will drop. That's why he said, whatsoever things are, think on these things, because you're fighting in dimensions. And I know this is kind of scary because we all dreamed something or thought something. Did that really happen? Especially when you get older. Keep your mind on the Lord. Do not entertain. If it's a conversation that is not directly attached to what God has you doing or where you're supposed to be going, release it. Don't sit there and start processing the old stuff. Drop stuff. Did they really say that? Did they really mean? You'll be off. These are things that happen where the enemy will. The reason I'm telling you, the warfare happens in your mind. The warfare happens in your spirit. But if the enemy can create a mindless, pointless conversation with some drama in it, and you drop it in your head, he got you off track. And don't bite. As fish get caught, snatched out the water, don't bite on that. If it didn't come from God, you don't have no business looking at it. If it's not of him, you don't have no business picking it up. You don't have no business putting that conversation, because things enter the dimensions that they can access you, and from dimensions, and they can access you if you're listening. That's why your mind is on the Lord. And the reason I'm saying that is some of you want to do something, would do something, and then here you get distracted, like little butterflies flying around. You just get distracted. You can't stay focused on what God has you doing. And this is where the word comes in. This is where you start rehearsing. You got to be able to pray and focus in and stand your ground. If he tells you to stand and you take claiming territory, and all the enemy got to do is have some little thing fly across and you down the street, you're not going to never take nothing. You're not going to never take in a territory because you get distracted. If he can bring up something to take your mind off of what he does not want you focused. The enemy does not want you on focused prayers. Let me put it like that. He don't want you consecrating the time, and he don't want you calling out the word. He doesn't want you speaking faith. He does not want you focused in on what he would have you to do. And warfare is everything focused. Warfare is intention. It is pushing in to something that's calling things that are not as though they were. It is focus. It is leaning in. It's not being all up on Facebook. Ooh, who died next? Who this? Who that? That's not what that means. Who or what? I want to make sure I get attention on this. You might be working on something that nobody even knows you under the hood working on it in the prayer realm, that you're actually praying for stuff. It's people that sit in the back of churches praying for the pastor in their church. Their prayers are heard more than the ones sitting up there on the pulpit. You don't know where God has you, why he has you sometimes hidden doing stuff that nobody knows you're doing. You might be being protected. You don't have to be in the front to get the job done. You do not have to be in the front to get the job done. You have to be in where God told you to stand. Remember yesterday's message. Tell me where to stand, Lord. In the midst of praying, tell me where to stand. Am I the janitor? Am I the gardener? Am I in the back doing the electronics? Am I in the kitchen cooking? Am I in a pew? Tell me where to stand. What am I supposed to be doing to serve you? Tell me where in the spirit realm, when you're in the family thing, am I to admonish? Am I to correct? Or am I to be quiet and let you do the work? Tell me every time it's not for you to say something. Sometimes it's not for you to say. Sometimes it's best you not to say and let God tell them. Don't you jump out there. I knew you were supposed to do this. Nope, don't open your mouth. It's best thing in the world is keep your mouth shut and let God work on it. Do not open your mouth. You can know all day the answer. Do not. It's not like in the classroom. What's 2 plus 2 when you shoot your hand up and say 4? Nope. Let God tell you. You answer it. Don't answer. Don't respond. Because this thing, that mind, that wandering mind, and that free tongue will get you into some mess and get you off track every time. You have to stay focused on the words of God, focused on the plans of God, and only speak what he tells you to speak and make a point. This is what I'm talking about, consecration. Ask him to consecrate your tongue, to consecrate your mind, to consecrate your eyeballs. You don't have to chase nothing. God will bring it to you if he wants you to have it. You ain't got to chase nothing. So what? Look. So what? So what you could do? You could do acrobatics. That doesn't mean go make. I'm gonna leave that alone. So what? You can do whatever it is. What did God tell you to do? What did he tell you to do? Don't go by what you know to do, because that's you still working out your own stuff. What did the Lord say? He told Moses to go and do a bunch of stuff, and Moses kept coming back. I stutter. I can't do it. It just self-esteem stuff happening all. And the Lord said, okay, take Aaron. Since she's so scary, take Aaron. Since, I told you to go, I'm going with you, but you want, okay, take him. Okay, so that's what happened. But the point is, God, listen to the Lord. He knows what he's telling you. You don't worry about it, how it looks on the outside. Be sold out to God. It should be like this. There's one thing I know. I prayed, I talked to the Lord on a regular. I know he's speaking to me on a regular. And I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to listen, make sure I get it right. I'm going to do what he told me to do. And I don't care if I get credit from it in the earth realm. I don't care if anybody knows I did it. Me and my friend God, we heard it. He told me what to do. I'm going to do it. And I don't have to get credit. I don't have to be paid. I don't have to do this. God will make sure I get it. He'll make sure it finds its way to me. And sometimes it does bust you out in front of everybody. Okay, but however he wants to do it, don't be distracted. The enemy will look for a snare. And when I say it comes from a dimension, the most important thing today I want you to understand is when the thought, if a thought makes you anxious, makes you upset, hurt your feelings, innocently hurt your feelings, crushes you, somebody's being mean, you don't have to wonder if something did not come from God, because God's not going to hurt you. So if it's coming from something that's not of God, pay attention. How did that make me feel? In my spirit, it disturbed me, makes me feel fearful, anxious, danger, Will Rogers, you feel danger. Then pay attention and take it before the Lord. And the Lord will handle that. That's warfare. Bring it out in another dimension, trying to get at you through your mind, through your emotions, through your memory, trying to stop you from staying focused. And a lot of times he will use family or loved ones to float in just a little thought. And you're like, well, maybe so. And I don't like that church because that pastor, just going. Pay attention to God. The enemy is not going. How is he going to get to you if he doesn't talk through somebody around you? You have to listen. You have to be on, especially discernment, keying in on the thing. God has you on a prayer assignment. Don't let people get you distracted. Stay on your point. And it's an easy thing to happen because he will hurt feelings is one of the things, getting people to argue and have their feelings hurt. When your feelings hurt, you don't want to be around the person no more. You could be around a person that hurt your feelings because what they're saying, it's not them, it's the enemy. And know who you're talking. Don't get mad at the person. That's what you do in your prayer closet. Devil, I see you. I've shut it down right now in the name of Jesus. Stick to the program. Pray, when you recognize the enemy, that's when you go back and you pay attention. That's sometimes you will be praying over one person, not a whole group. He might, if he gives you on a prayer assignment with somebody, it might be a child, relative, neighbor, somebody. You are not wrestling with that human being. That human being is subject to suggestion. You see people, they're happy one day, mad the next day. Before it became a clinical diagnosis of bipolar or whatever they want to call it, but a lesser version. Sometimes look in the spirit realm. Why today you find and tomorrow sudden mood swing changes? Check the spiritual realm of that. Pray over that thing. Don't just let people, because they'll disturb you. If you let today you're happy, today you're sad, today you all over here, something. Stop it. Set it down. You don't be swayed back and forth. You be consistent in the spirit realm. You be consistent in the things of God. You be consistent on what he tells you. You be like a rock, like Daniel was consistent. One thing you know about these men and women of God, they are predictable and consistent in the things of God. David was a warrior, but he was a praiser. He was consistent. You be consistent. Let them say, you know where to find me? I'm gonna be on this third floor of that north window open at 3:30. Come with your bad self, because I'm gonna be praying every day, all the time, same time. I'm right there. You don't have to sneak up on me. I'm just like Nehemiah. I'm not coming down for your silliness. I'm doing a great work. You prioritize the things of God and recognize the enemy. Part of the problem, we don't recognize them and we get pulled aside. And you shouldn't have to ask if it's of God. I'm listening to people say, people have been saved for years. You think that's God? Why don't you know God's voice by now? You should know his voice by now. You know what he sounds like. You know what it is. If it's got you arguing and fighting, it's not God. If it's some selfishness in there, if it works of the flesh in there, that's not God. And saints, men and women of God get caught up in that all the time. I like this one. I don't like that one. You don't have to. Jesus said that your behind will be out of heaven. Don't say I like, I don't like. I love all the men and women of God. I love the children of God. That's your job. You don't have the authority or the spiritual aptitude to know who to like or dislike. You didn't have to get into heaven yourself. You got into heaven. Thank you, Jesus. I got a seat. Let me see if I can help whomever else get a seat. Getting into heaven. Let me see if I can help. I don't have a right to dislike anybody. I have a right to. There's something wonderful and loving about everybody, and that's what the eyes of God. Everybody's capable of changing. Even like I was listening to Michelle Obama. I'm gonna say it. There's some admirable things about Donald Trump when he's not acting crazy. But like Michelle Obama said, he's not fit to be president. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have a nice side. That doesn't mean he doesn't have some redeeming, wonderful qualities. But he's got some. But you see, you got a mixture, and somebody with certain issues should not be in charge of buttons or nothing on that dashboard. Get back away from the Oval Office. You do not put your pen down. Back up. That's not your job. That's not the one for you. Something you are designed for. You are excellent at selling real estate, maybe, but this is not your spot. That's all that is. I don't hate the person. You don't hate people. You don't dislike people. They can do some good things, but you have to ask. This is God's business. People, that's God's business. Your business is to pray God's will into the earth realm. Your business is to not be in judgment of anybody, because by the grace of God, depending what he's listening to and what's influencing him. You don't know how people, if you knew the life of many people, you'd have more compassion for them, because you don't know what happened to, and you don't know why they are angry or jealous or have fits of rage or why they act like they act. You don't know the history. So let's do this. Let me not look at the physical manifestation. It's much easier to pray for people from another realm, because if you pray in that there's warfare, you understand there's warfare breaking out in another realm that's influencing this person. then you start praying different prayers. Let me not look at the effect. Let me look at the cause. Let me go back and pray a deeper prayer. Binding the spirit of, praying down, breaking down strongholds. Go into that next realm and pray for them up there. Don't pray for them down here, because if you look at some ugliness down here, you will be not acting well. You'll be, and because every story has a whole process attached to it. People, when they do evil, some people can do evil and go do whatever, go to Starbucks or go have dinner, they have no problem. Some people, it bothers them, but at the end of the day, God is consistent. At the end of the day, do not be mistaken. God keeps perfect math. You always pray for people, because at some point in time, whether it's on this side or the next, they're going to be brought to see the sin. They're going to see the ramifications of their actions. They will answer. Everybody has to answer. Everybody has to show up front and center. Nobody's just going to pass on through without having a talk. Everybody's going to have that one-on-one. So don't think that just because they're doing it here and they seem to not be affected by it, it's not going to be a reckoning. Their word is not a human being's word is not the final word. God is the one in charge. He will keep perfect math. So with that in mind, you keep your head down and you pray the prayers, and you do not allow yourself to get distracted. Be conscious of the fact that things come in. The main point today is that things can enter your mind, and you do not let any thought just come and take up residence in your mind. The enemy, part of his battlefield is to toss some thoughts at you, to toss some mess at you, to get you distracted, to get you agitated, to get you out of the realm. He wants to pull you out of the dimension, out of the realm of God, and put you in the realm of flesh. The enemy wants your mind to stay on your flesh, something tangible, fear, greed, lust, jealousy, whatever it is, a lot of it or a little of it, he just wants to get you out of that upper realm and bring you back down. And your job is to not be attracted or attached or affected by this stuff in the earth realm, and to stay up in that realm. Your job is to stay on the fruit. That's why the fruit, we've been talking about the fruit forever. The reason the fruit is so important, because the fruit keeps you out of mess. Love, joy, peace, kindness, meekness, and the others, like 7 of them. Against such there is no law. You stay in that, he can't get you, because his tools don't work on that stuff. His tools are greed, anger, and all the little nicey, choppy stuff he's got to do to get people agitated, to talk to you crazy. And if you sit there and have a conversation with a deep person that's being demonically influenced, and they could be soft-spoken or they could be yelling and screaming, you're not looking at their tone of their voice. You're looking at the countenance of their character and the spirit behind it. The spirit behind it. Then when you're able to recognize the spirit behind it, you don't even have to talk about it. God, you said bless you and just keep on going. Don't turn. The enemy wants to stop you and distract you, bring you over here. Come, they just called you ugly. They just called you the N-word. They just such and such and such. You look at that stuff, you'll be mad as everybody else, and you will get you something, and you'll be right with everybody else. You're no used to God looking in the flesh. You're no used to him like that. You got to hold the ground, heavenly ground. There's a bigger purpose here. Hold down the fort. Hold down what God has, his agenda. Those people need prayer and blessings too. The people in the Ku Klux Klan, they need to be saved. They don't need to be, you can sit and just get mad at what they're doing, or you can pray for them. Go and get the deeper prayer. We need to pray that hatred. Oh no, that's of the enemy. It's got to come out, because behind that is a human being that needs to be saved. There's a human being behind every single thing you see and happening, needs to know the Lord. And if you're praying mature prayers, able to discern, able to stand in the realm of the heavenlies like Daniel did, you can pull some stuff down. You're not sitting here going toe-to-toe with the devil once it's manifested in a human being. You're able to ascend into that next realm and say, greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. So let me go to the greater than and praise all this stuff out. Go up. Pray from that dimension, and do not let the enemy drop junk in your head where you try to come out of the dimension. Stay up in it. And when he talks, you shouldn't have moods. If you find yourself being agitated and criticizing and all this, That's the first thing every time somebody has left this prayer line. You too mean. You too, because I'm hitting stuff they don't want to change, and I hit it the harder. Because see, the point is, when God does not put you in a position for you to, none of us are perfect. He's working on all of us. So you're not going to get comfortable. Oh, you think you have arrived? It's just going to be comfortable. You can just talk and say and prophesy and do whatever, give you a little advice. But as soon as them little start stepping on them toes, you got to run down the street. That's because you don't want your toes is out there. God's going to correct every single one of us, me, everybody. Everybody's getting, because he's working a work in us. He's doing something better than what we were. A parent doesn't do a child any justice to say, well, he don't want to eat his vegetables, so he don't have to eat. No, you got to eat your vegetables because they're good for you. This is like this word got some pieces in it that's going to cut you, but that piece got to come off because I need you to be higher. I need you to go up into a deeper realm, and you got all that stuff on you. I got to cut it off. That's what he's doing. He's working a work in you, not just leaving you comfortable. And every single time it's been rebellion and self-gratification, and they using this like a social club. This ain't a social club. This is not the spot. So, yes, and I will not try to do nothing different. I'm not going to try. I'm trying to talk nice. I'm not babysitting people. We working for a greater faith. We're going to the next level. I'm not here to make you comfortable. I'm here to make you better. In the presence of God, all of us are getting better. So we can be a tool for the master's use, refined and tested. And then God can take any one of you and use you on a great and mighty way. He can take any one of you. You've been consistent. Any one of you can sit up here and handle this prayer call and some other ones. You have been growing in the presence of God. You got some sharp swords. You can chop some stuff down right about now. Any one of you war in the spirit realm, and you all different tones, different type of prayer, but every last one of you able to get up in here and handle your business. I would be, if I was in need, I would say call one of my people because you guys don't know how to pray over me. Get somebody else, and I need somebody that can bust through here and say, Lord, it's me. We need it done. Because see, when you friends with God, you ain't got to do a long prayer. Lord, it's me. I need this done. And done, going on about your business because you got it like that. You got a relationship like that. You could toss it around. You ain't got to be in there cutting yourself, jumping up and down and screaming out. You don't have, because you in relationship. He's yours and you're his. You in there. Because I tell you, I would be afraid of somebody trying to step up to me and Mr. Bolden standing there. I'll be like, don't, step back. Because you don't want to be standing here. Sir, back up. Because that's the same thing. God be all with you. He's with you. He's for you. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. God is doing a thing, a wonderful thing. So stay in what he's doing, the work he's doing in you. He's making some powerful prayer warriors. You guys don't realize how powerful your prayers are in the heavenlies. And yet still, he's getting ready to do a greater work. He's getting ready to do a greater work.